Sky Power Radio and TV Services Studios, West Yorkshire, Leeds, Stencil Mount. Welcome all on board our weekly civic education program. Today is Saturday, 30th of the 8th, 2025 at 17:16 UK time. Mustafa Jame is my name at the seat. Yo, assalamu alaikum badingolu al kontong mobe dawada anibe watu watito on Skype or radio and TV services kal kontong kal bismillah na program mo min kasoro jang lokungol lokun ninyan temben si the civic education program yo lengal badi malo Mustafa Jame mimbe sirim program mo kun nanyan temben Okay, they will continue in the name of Sky Power Radio and TV services by Studios, West Yorkshire, Leeds, Stencil Mount, program, civic education program, and Action Harit Mustafa, Jaminekal and Fiji, Rajabi. Right, like we usually do weekly, today I'm Kalifajinga Hamne, Kalfal Minia Lonko, Kasulela, Kula Mimbe Dending, Ajako Wolon Sula Kulti Gambia. Lokun minni ka tarajang bi dol bijan dol tijang be alaji sedi baro kontra na biata tijang aning Aziz Bojang Aziz ngamera nyato demanding is coming to join us aning ndey jabate bi ndey bulo mutada the lady of the house abulo mutada binde se tarala jang aning kadim nak ngamira atata tubale ala kul mankoy malum fa atata tubale Senegal bang buka maka moy so bamba mas Avananga Tarajan but Fama Dal Domandi Mama Kamai. Suleiman Duke, Honorable Sol Pijan Benfe in the studio kono. The Fofenkela Alpha Ba Mialong Konga Sotomfe B Abe studio kono. Wolom Mr. Asan Martin di. Asan Mumole de Mialonko Gambia la Kona Manke Monu Kundintije Ninata Wola Sutu Ninata Mola Nyanto Ka Tanka Gambia Banko Kang Mola hakol pour que de la Gambia banko kan amukule de mialonko asan fanan wo Gambia ko ya sulale ro kamala be asan tentu la fanke mbajela ay wato minta amang hesitate fam bilin kay ko Gambia la kolom ako tanatije abinale andong mol men be katarajang komin ka fu nyame mol be kela hajol lebla pre na ye tarajang Gambia la kole sula pour Gambia fannawo fannato ase bono nyame Nim momo because Dolby Jamin to Alone, you need to give something back to Ipotadamin to your community. If I'm Murindi fo Alondo Lombang fo Amakamo Lombang fo Akodo Lombang Ikaminki Sifa or Sifa, you need to give something back to your community. Mr. Martin, thanks for coming. This is the first time Purina Nanjang, but in Bay Conton na Fanfan Kimbetin to Lambejela. Sebula in Lamoylan in G. Berlin your control, and you over a J. Sina Sol Honorable and Senate Fanankang because alphabetically usually in Kakoliam, but the Alon Sol Alon. Mr. Martin, greetings. You know, you can say hello to viewers and listeners at the minute.
Well, thank you so much, Mustafa. I mean, just being contently drunk. I mean, as you said, happy to be with my comrade there. joining a platform which we used to be again. I think Abemi Yafinandrong, Bankudo Kolom. I think the legacy, Mr. Jeng knows what I'm trying to say, is what brought us again here. We ndolbebe nung kelo la ninko kelo campaigno lom drong. Manke banku ko hakilo leka mara. And then, war has been the campaign. Tol tata nung fonga kumandi the struggle. But Mr. Jeng knows what I'm trying to say here. But Nkontanta Bake with this civic education platform. And yet to kumal for minuli alonko iman na follow. But definitely the lights of the mentioned, especially the dynamic system day. Mustafa, but his sister Solko, ibe namo fenkelete kumotole. Nyebole and nyebole mero fanayale. Really, I told them. They said Mustafa had knife like that you know. Anyway, Mr. Yang, bro, content not torop man. This is what it is. We are all out here for country. We will never relent. As I say, I know your heart. I've seen all the rights ups. We all
dafa mel ni
I think foog naa dafa am incoming
Hassan
call.
Martin network am bi dafa defen
Yeah.
so
yeah.
Moustapha mang laa nuyu di la sant di la gërëm comme niñ ko daan defee rek every weekend Hassan Martin comme niñ ko waxee nekkut nit koo xam ne ku ees la si Gambian affairs because ma moom almost 8-10 years ago suñ party cross on the struggle dañ daan daje platform yi Panderi Ba yal na ko yàlla yërëm te yéexeeñu dañ daan amee lot of live discussions foofu pare dañ daan also binda share a lot of ideas so ñun ñëpp Gambia ñu ñor te Gambia tax ñu ñëw daje fii di fi daje every weekend di waxtaan di mayalante xel di fàttali wante réew mi fi mu nekk at the moment ak fan lañ bugga mu egga ci at ci kanam incha allah doxalin réew mi tànki nguur gi suñ koom-koom bi ak lu bari dañ ko dee waxtaane fii Asis Bojang comme ni nga wax Asis ne day dina fi teewu so ñu ngi ko sentu Alhaji Bamba Mass ak Alhaji Seydi Baro géej naan leen a gis so xam naa ne jotante wut rek moo tax gaay géej fi ajaratu ndey tey loxoom dafa jàppa waaye moom saa yu nekk mu ngi fee ñun ñoom ñëpp maa ngi leen a nuyu di leen sant di leen jox seen wàccuwaay jërë ngeen jëf yéen it mi ñu leen a déglu yéen a ñu dee gën a saaylo ñuy sawara ñu di fi nekka so without yéen duñ fi mun a toog o suñ toogaay fii du am solo bu baax maa ngi leen a nuyu yéen it di leen sant di leen jox seen wàccuwaay yes Mustafa tey topic bi is quite interesting
jërëjëf waaw
so ñu ngi wax affaire yi comme suñ cells yi normally at the police stations suñ waxee cells rek normally suñ xel daf dee dem mile 2 o Janjanbureh because foofu la dee gën a faral a teg nit ñi I think ak Kanifing tamit am na beneen prison service bi fa nekka so gis nañ ne amoon na at yi ci gannaaw ñu ngi génne woon nataali cells yi ak prisoners yi niñ fa dëkkoo nit ñi ñaawlu ko trop parce que gis nañ ne dëkkuwaay bi even suñ rab yi sax duñ nangu ñu nekk ci dëkkin yooyu astuma doomi aadama ak doomi réew am na ñi ci gën a bari ñun ci kaso bi nekkul ne nit ñu bon lañ moo leen fa teg nekkul ne dañ sàcca nekkul ne dañ rey nit waaye ak nu mundi mel kaso normally dafa war a nekk a correction center dafa war a nekk béréb boo xam ne dafay jubanti dafay jubal di jubanti waaye niñ gisee suñ cells yi dafa mel ni instead of ñuy jubal di jubanti dañ dee gën a saaraanloo ñiñ fa tëj ñiñ fa taaj am na ñoo xam ne balaa ñu fa génna ñi am feebaru xel am na ñoo xam ne dañ dee génn foofu ak yeneen feebar yoo xam ne dugguñ fa ak feebar yooyu so yooyu yëpp li ko waral mooy dëkkuwaay bi so dëkkuwaay boobu kenn yéenewu ko sa morom sa noon sa doo ko yéene especially sa moromi doomi Adama gis naa fan yu néew nguur gi ñu ngi génn wone ne ñu ngi bugga bil kaso yoo xam ne state of the art la moo nekka kaso yoo xam ne dina jox doomi Adama bi yëlle fam comme ni ma ko waxee si njëlbeen bi rek dafa nekk béréb boo xam ne dafay jubanti nekkul ne béréb boo xam ne dafay gën a noot o di toroxal ñi fa dëkka Moustapha loolu la amoon pour wax ci tuuti ma may la yow it nga ñëw bala Assane Martin di ñëwaat ñu continuer
am na solo lool Sol xam nga maanaam affaire bi is about human beings. Affair B is about Gambians. This is about Gambians, about human beings. And the people detaining them are fellow Gambians or citizens like them. I think, I don't know what are the protocols or the proceedings. Asan would be able to help us with that. What do you do? What do you need to do? What do you have to do? Or what sort of crime do you need to commit or have to commit to be detained there within 24 or 48 or 72 hours? And the conditions, what are sort of the conditions or criteria attached to that? Lolu, I'm not solo lol, Chiman. You've been a police officer, you know some of these things. Maybe you experience some of these. You know, I don't know if you can share that with us.
Why xam nga comme like holding am na ñu ñuy wax holding centers comme si cells yi nit ki suñ la tuumalee ne danga jalgati luwa bi ak yoon bu mun di mel whether danga sàcca whether danga break public order whether danga rey nit or whether xam nga ak nu mun di mel boo jalgatee luwa bi buñ amee comme yaakaar ne o ñu suspect ne danga jalgati luwa bi dañ la dee téye teg la benn place so benn place boobu si holding center bi luwa bi daf ne 72 hours lañ la war a teg benn place loolu dafay joxe police yi doole boo xam ne ak pexe boo xam ne dinañ mun a gëstu seet naka nga jalgatee luwa bi ndax dinañ am anything loo xam ne dina seede ne actually liñ la tuumal loolu nga def balaa ñuy defar seen kayit yëpp toppatoo sa file bi mun laa yóbbu si kanami atekaay ida si magistrate yi o si court si so 72 hours yooyu daf leen a jox time so mun nañ laa teg benn place waaye buñ la tegee benn place war nañ la wax lan mooy sa yelleef lan mooy sa loi lan mooy sa rights war nga wax ak sa avocat boo amee avocat koo xam ne daf lay taxaw ba pare war nañoo fexe ne nga gisee koo xam ne fajkat yi nit la like doctor or nurse koo xam ne dina seet sa wérgu yaram fan la tollu ndax amuloo benn feebar boo xam ne suñ la tegee si benn place loolu dina yokka sa feebar bi ndax amuloo feebaru xel o ndax yaa ngi amee sa garab yi nga war a jël pour dimbale la so yooyu yëpp war nañ la ko wax ba pare war nañ la wax it ne lu tax ñu laa teg benn place so yooyu sa yelleef la police yi war nañ la ko wax so am na ñoo xam ne tamit suñ leen yóbbee si kanami attekaay dañ leen di ne waaw ñii de mënu leen a bàyyi ñu génn ba balaa ñuy jeexal atte bi o jeexal gestu bi mooy liñ dee wax rimaan dañ la dee yóbbu rimaan mooy mile 2 ñu teg la foofu ba ñu gestu sa mbir yëpp o luwa bi atte yoon ci yow so yooyu yu ci dee gën a bari mooy xen na ñoo xam ne dañ rey nit o xen na dañ def crime yoo xam ne comme dafa li ñu wax ay treason ak yooyu o ñu gom ne xen na kii suñ la beelee ñu bàyyi la di nga daw so yooyu de waral ñu la rimaan so comme cells si police station bi soo demee police station si dañ dee am cells ñu xam ne ñu jàppa ñu ngi leen a gëstu foofu lañ leen di dugal.
Cells in a police station, is it for cell to detain or cell to keep people there? What are they for? Or for 72 hours lab? What are they for?
Well, holding centers lañ.
So
cells yooyu waaw dañ la war a teg foofu pour gëstu say mbir like within 72 hours. So after 72 hours, police cells is not meant for come like prison cells. Prison cells mooy boo xam ne yow dem nga ci luwa bi atte nañ la ñu ne waa kii dafa war a tëdda benn at o kii dafa war a tëdda juróom benn weer o kii dafa war a tëdda fukki at so si prison si lañ la yóbbu teg la foofu waaye police cells yi waruñ la faa teg nga fa nekka like more than 72 hours. So cells, they're not meant for that.
Why so conditions the conditions of the cells or detention centers, and is there any standard to meet that sort of thing? The conditions?
Normally, every police cells it should be spacious, clean. Waruta kind of like a sardine. Understand? So what I'm like Munuman specifically it should be 6 people or 7 people depending on the size of the cell. I think Asis Bojang Munti Moma Muje so Asis could assist on that aspect. Yeah, Mr. Bojang, welcome.
Thank you so much. You just invited me. Anyway, I'm just trying to connect to the laptop. Can you guys continue and then I'll jump in from there?
Kadim. Okay. Yes. Hello, hi, Kadim. Kadim,
okay.
Please, yes.
Kadim Muftale, assalamu alaikum.
Kadim inimbara, bismillah.
Inimbara Alaji Mustafa, inimbara Suleiman, police keba inimbara Aziz. Ngal tentu ngal jayi, mfamata programu la baki. Bar Mustafa folombe la modula lu konton na bake lefta pour ka me yitandi jandron wala mo Suleiman ka men explain detention pour ka mo sindi dula kirin ay sifa sabasoto e simo sindi no dula kilen pour ka Cairo tenkundi pour ka Cairo tuanoto e simo sindi no dula kilen pour ika fon tanka pro akana lanjuro wara akana sotaro sia famma isimo sindi no dula killing pour ka loi tamandi loi e même foko nimmo mo yenyinke amanya na menkela anyan nyina nyanta kelala indula sabo be juber bale mo pour nga jube mba tenten na nyame because ikaje ko because mbenga jele menketa nyin demonstration o membe caring like police ole na dore ko albe nyimmen na ni loi manta modo e wuli dura ko hani ndolbe men na ni loi tatala ko arrest this man wo is an abuse of power wo ika symbole wafi mo kanko wo mari manyanto soto pour kete challenge wo mari manyanto soto pour kete la kuma kan jindi wara manyanto soto pour kete ka foko uniform ole bela damma maybe ite training menke wala muto pour ka kuntu ilimbali nyato to prevent crime. Police la do ko fango be tata nata wala mo crime prevention oti aning to maintain law and order. Yo bari bete momento ning crime manke Ibe crime prevent nola nyadi le because it is aggressive nola pour ka mo waling ka faye ko bojang hani manta bola jam paw yalipa. Then you are inviting crime, you are not preventing crime. So kodo lel bije men yalon ko nyante kachala nge kono fanundi anu bidu Mustafa ngaje ko police fulale be fe jang. So police ol du ngaje le jama wati e kataria nim police ol diamuta dorong ikaji hani social media police ol si kamfa isavo ko hani ite manyana fem folan dolla kuoto hani boda policiato ima kome ye menke David la mte I was not happy because David banku dingolem. He is a citizen before becoming a police. Pour kala opinion nyen kawo exercise. Ndama mira wo mu nyenti ko aka police la command structure le kajafi wala aka police la doko nyene pocho hani aka silole itande ka fana ikafu hakilola membe mako ino le saje police ol sila doko keno effectively. Bari maje ko ay police la doko doyandila hani monanate ani Suleiman famote police la doko doyandila do amantara police any longer but nadi amata don police ol bajelal ko munanti na Suleiman be nyim fola Suleiman mu senior police officer te non ate manyan na kantol kajafi in fact namam fasano because then Suleiman offensive in support of police. The police would not write anything on their platform. They would rather endorse that. So police should also accept criticism, even from people many along they've served the institution before. Because maybe Wolfindirin Kola institution they say idea don't no. It all they could tap into that to better the policing and police of our society. Abaraka.
Ninga police press release ning understand. Sorry, let me just come there quickly. Ninga police press release understand clearly. Ika for a serving police officer. Manyan police will criticize la. Yalong police setup ning is regimented. Is unlike civilian society. So police will ye most of the minka diam on behalf of the police. Willem police PROT. Hani IGP fang jama he doesn't come out and speak on behalf of the police. Ni cool kita PRO ni neka fundika diam on behalf of police because ika feedle. So as a serving officer, imanyan naka fundi ka kumandol for police la Carola. I do understand ko David is a civilian, he is a Gambian, is a civilian force. But if he's a serving police officer, I think the police are in place. Puruka Foko, Amanyan Nagafundi, as a serving police officer, police will criticize openly. So there's an internal process wherein he can go and speak to the police. Asala idea soul anala feeling soul put across. Isaje isiwo but if he's not a serving police officer, as a private citizen, he has every right, like any of us here, can come out and critique the police openly without reservation. I think Nyanta wo fanang faham lale, So I don't know whether he is still serving, but according to police press release, Alice, I think if I am right, it appears as if David is still a serving police officer.
Yes. David, from my understanding, is on secondment. But it can be subjected to fact checking. Nalonko is a very informed officer. Nalonko probably he knows the implications of going solo or coming out. So Ngajiki comment, the press release itself is in line, but at the same time, it's against their own principle. Because if David is a serving officer that went against the code of conduct, the process or the response to it should be through that same code of conduct, which means they should not also come out and denounce David publicly. Are you seeing the point I'm trying to make?
But what they are trying, if I understand press release B, they are not only talking to David, but they are deterring other police officers. Then they gain the binder, and we've seen that. Yeah, we've seen that a lot. So, I'm the code of conduct. The police be a disciplinary set off.
Exactly.
Even senior officers, if you are suspected of doing anything is against the police code of conduct, then they set a commission senior officers invite, investigate and then if there is a need, they can demote you, or if worst come to worst, then discharge is a service. If you are a commission officer, what they would do, they would recommend to PMO for new terminate a service.
So Suleiman, it's not what they should do, but it's the way they did it.
Yeah.
David's action, if it is against the police disciplinary code, because it's not criminal, right?
No, it's not at all. No,
it's a disciplinary
it is
code.
Yeah.
Yes, the best course of action is internal, which means they don't have to play to David's gallery. What they should do is to call David, remind him that he is a serving member, and whatever action they need to take, they will. But they are playing, they're trying to satisfy the public. And trying to
I think that is the problem of the police, because I think
what is the problem I have? Ite dolo mingo condemn la yeta si bato dolo kabo be bulika fumbolika dolo mingo bula. Am I correct?
Okay.
No, you cannot do that.
Okay.
Exactly.
I think
okay. So
I think whether he was
yeah, go on.
I think being appointed on, I did say to him he should not allow Facebook to dictate how he operates as a chief of the police. So Giznane commonly as is well, just to buttress that police be film nekani, then they kind of react to social media be. So better than you but it's a doing community because of the social media. They are kind of scared, they're afraid. Understand? Pour why yenai or pour def yenai. Why lolo man manko firndel ne hen na nyaka ham sen liggéey la.
Okay.
Because su fekkee ne
wow.
But before I'm not a guest, Mr. Hassan Martin.
Wow.
I wanted to answer the question being in Malaj about the cells, detention facilities in police stations. I mean, a lot of changes has happened in the recent past since Nyunbun Fajoge. Why there are certain cells they still remain the same. I think, to be quite frank and honest to the Gambia Police Force, the cell size is normal, is standard, which is about 5.4 meters square, or about 58 square feet. The problem is not the size. The problem is the maintenance and the conditions. The sanitary conditions. That is the thing that makes those cells unlivable. From the structure itself, small window see a country and a context is very hot. Ventilation is an issue. Doing the jail cell responsibility normally, which is among other things, once in a while, gain a prisoner, would them use toilet facility, ga joko sanitary things, mumuna clean cell, you yep doing koidef. So those cells becomes hell instead. In fact, they become a medical and health issue.
The cells become hell, become a torture center. Okay, great stuff. We'll come to that in detail. Hassan, thank you. We lost you. I think we've got you there. Can you hear me, Hassan, Mr. Martin? No, I can't hear you, Hassan, for some reason. And then I can't even see you. Your camera seems to be a bit dark. I don't know if you can hear me. I can't hear you, you know. No.
All right, Mustafa.
Yes, yes. But Mukeje back here.
I think
a light man clear.
Okay.
Yeah, the light is.
Yeah, I appreciate now. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. So what we'll do is like, first of all, if we may start, this protest that led to all this, Yeah, you are legally minded, you are a lawyer. What went wrong? Was the protest lawful, Mr. Martin?
Well, I mean, as far as we are concerned, I mean, you have to look at everything, taking a perspective here and putting it into a context that, I mean, if you know that our laws, what the law says, it is clear that in our constitution, you know, we always have that right guarantee for us to come out at any instance to make sure that, you know, we can solve our grievances. But the basic fundamental freedoms are always stated in the Constitution. The most important three, you can remember that, which is association, expression, and then freedom of movement. These are fundamental in any democracy. I mean, so we have to make sure we all bear our mind on this. Let us not take them for granted. Any government, whether present or future, you can take note that they have to respect these fundamental freedoms. Mustafa, if we lost these three freedoms, then definitely you know that we are, you know, our humanity, you know, is something that we have to look into. However, I mean, going back, whether these people, the action they took, yes, in some point, look, the simple fact is that in a democracy, this is what we were all fighting for. In a democracy now, you're looking at the environment and what can be done. It is fair and it is definitely right for anybody to challenge, for instance, an institution or authority. What I mean here by through a petition or through a lawful means. So what happened here, these boys, they came out, I cannot tell them boys, the new funding kill, you know, in a way they are citizens. They came out, he said this thing that, I mean, sorry, there's some Arabic word in them, but I hope you will hear me loud and clear.
Yes.
So what happened was that they came out due to PURA, which is the Public Utility Authority. Sorry, some Arabic word in them, but okay, they came out, they went to report, at least they wrote a petition to go and deliver this petition to the PURA body, which is the Public Utility Regulatory Body. In that process, you have to see whether they have done something wrong. What happened is that they were in groups, they went and they want to deliver this petition. At that juncture, at that point, that is where now, you know, they have an issue with the police. But then you have to now come and see whether they are right or wrong. First of all, under our constitution, I don't know whether I'm coming clear. Somebody what I done wrong.
Yes.
The fact is that our constitution, section 25B, guarantees a person's peaceful assembly. Mustafa, anybody can, in our own lives, we can come together, whether at the market, whether in our mosque, whether in our homes, every time we are assembling. The fact of the matter is that peaceful assembly was made. Now, what was their next move? Was their next move criminal? Was their next move to commit a crime? This is now where the issue is. If I thought it was just to go and deliver a petition to PURA, the authority, then that means, oh, nothing has been done wrong. If I thought they were there to make, you know what I mean, extraneous things like going to commit a crime or block the traffic or whatever, then you can have an issue of unlawful assembly. And the taking into cognizance, the fact of the matter is that the Public Order Act, which the police are always trying to rely on, this is where now our problem is. That Public Order Act is just a subsidiary legislation that says that in the event, for instance, if you decide to do two things, which is one, if you are going to march in the streets from point A to point B, you may need probably, you know what I mean, a police escort, because maybe you may be trying to block the traffic or so. On the second point, the same Public Order Act says if in the event that you need a PA system, then you can notify the police and write to them to seek a permit. So it is not necessary, because we don't want to make sure this Public Order Act, you know, to always infringe our right to freedom of assembly. Freedom of assembly is a very sacrosanct right, whereby in the event that I am not happy, whether we are 4, we are 2 in number, or whether we are in number, we have our right to converge, right to congregate and decide. But if you demanding, coming clear or not?
Very loud and clear. Very loud and clear. We can hear you very loud and clear. I don't know if you can hear me, but it's very loud and clear here. Yeah? Can you hear me, Mr. Martin?
Mr. Martin cannot hear you. Can I just jump in quickly?
Yes, 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 Aziz.
Sorry, Mustafa, are you talking to me?
Yes, I say we can hear you very loud and clear. I think there is a delay because of the rain. Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
I think anyway, let me just come back.
Okay.
The Somali what Rajang Malo for what I can stop thing. Let me just see whether I can. I'll have to go up.
No, that's fine. Aziz, yes.
Okay, Mr. Martin, for Akumaya Tabak. A constitution of Olemea Lonko be Luad Be Batele Dumala. Aduwe Gambian Kolu, I mobile Hadamadi Nyanto Dilale. Ko Yenyanto Sotole, Ning ye kuje menkuyate ye finti, ye demonstrate, ye la balamba ya itandi. Anata foko fana mobe nyanto soto, pour mo kane tora. Moe be nyanto soto, pour yeta mantama ye boyla bungo kono, yeta mbedo kan, yeta fo, ilafta tala dameng, atara mote ibali nola wola. Constitution o nyinefo. Bari amam mem fo wole mumbeo ken wala nyadile. Pour wafir la sala wafiro ke donna sitara la dongola, drive sitara borokan wo public space kon. Wala na silang subject matter specialist to the executive saying and through the parliament inata si kalwa dolu dada membe wo constitutional wo bundalu bambandila abe wo luwal kono criminal code and other codes will be nata purka the spirit of the constitution, the provisions by the constitution bukata deep into the nitty-gritties of what you need to do to ensure this. Constitutional is a declaration of mune nyanta kela banko be da korta men basila wo be ken wala nyameng subject matter experts wolle ka wo legislation olu dada parliamentia a ratify abe wo kono the Public Order Act men ka kumbo a wulita nyine kama pur ka wo mola wo nyanto nyin sembentu ya whether silang the provisions men iba kono for ining wo mola nyanto sembentu ya tata le bamfamanta is now the question. Wala na molka foko the Public Order Act nyantanga repeal, which is fine. Nyantanga repeal, it has lived its welcome. Bari being police all long as their first mindset ko Public Order Act manna pour kamolu bali. Bara natale pour que sembentu ya ka conditional create men constitutional nyantolu mendi ka conditionol create pour mol se wo nyanto exercise no nyinemu public order act la spirit and in any other subordinate legislation under the constitution ibe nata pour ka constitution o nyine sembentu ya misali fe bi constitution o namu alquranoti ni order legislation mu hadisol leti o hadisol nata pour mune kama pour ka na alabato nyin ka clear moli anin ka sonen based on the Quran, right? So the first mindset is nin police or bitan at this place. Always all nankafoko is the mindset, is the understanding. Police all mentata on the ground. Wolu they went to execute an instruction me yadila. But a me instruction on yindi. What was he thinking at the time? Oh, are these people a nuisance? Are they breaking any aspect of the constitution? Constitutional provision of the right to freedom of expression and the right to assembly. Now, in imagining how we can do that, today I'm now the police officer who is now going to send people to go. The first thing I'm going to ask myself is, how can we achieve this constitutional order? And ask myself, imagine Birinjinul Tata, if there was arrangement pour la Nadon and receive the petition, would we resort into all of this? Because they are just going to give a petition. If arrangements can be made, pour a bo silabakan and just contain them within that area, would it result to what it has resulted?
In summary, as is, at a fellow order, in summary, come in for all police will ye tol order le prieta ye act woman nyam.
This is it.
But even police or fanatic as is, it come in for lawful and unlawful act. What any police or military in law, all the mala it will come in order for?
No, yalong, it's unlawful.
Let me come in quickly.
Yes, come in.
I'm gonna come as is there. I'm gonna mindset be domi adama hell be more yip. So a policy is an operational mindset be lanwara revisit. I'm gonna when it comes to security sector reform, new bari dan fogne na all they need to do is no hamne they've been adversely mentioned na len gene. Why the if the police operational mindset so reform the indirect is going to operate in the same thing because institutional. So that institutional culture. So the institutional culture of the police moy nyom nan protect the government's interest, whether it is against the public interest or not. Nyom send role, send cultural mindset be more they have to protect the government's interest. Mota so said law any protest bo hamne is geared against the government as
So you are muted. You are muted here.
Yeah, okay. All right. I think we've got Kadim here, but Yanin Kadim bina Aziz. Kukilim bijam boy. Ayeng wayin sula bakele ya fole ite experience running cool to bakele for a dimension for 5.4 meters. Niaji wo for yalom bakele kubale lonje. But kumi yen sula ni wo fanaro Yanin asan bina because asan ninkera niaji en kol laftanga asan soro. Asan atata selol be nga atata selol be to killing Asan Martin he went to all these cells jibe minelle bije molla conditional bije nyameng Asan ya pejele wala na lafta ay tarajam pour afonye I mine jeje mine binyane wo sifal but I will try about all the men nga soro I wo fanna fonye because je ko mata bakele iko mol minni alon ko bije pour que kanta wol nata ke molti minni alon ko ila ke itora fenne de mi alonko silanda balon because ni ataranum dula nyimu dulante de mi alonko pour que mol detain jelon wala pour que muta jelon fo wati sutunde wo condition o nyanta kala dulal dame alon ko ni joni ni selo moya nyanto wo sotola jela because Gambia candidate yalo so nin kumbo nyama malon je Aziz je kitio be nyadele janku madal because it's got to do with momo se tarno jela you know.
Oh yeah. So it's again the police mindset. When the police mindset, ya mira le coming selo mu kulur dulalti. Adu womandam police la mindset da maladi. Gambian call belem. Me example dilela. Ne mo samba bi station. Ikam fata kama. Ikai konasi kontwaro koma. People go home saying, na sambali madundi selfang, abe siri jani be kacha. Because for them, they satisfy la wole I don't sell. So for them, sale is not only a place to keep this person, a temporal holding place. It's a place of punishment, so people can learn lessons.
Yeah, but the conditions, more like young Aziz.
So the lessons, the more difficult the conditions, the better people are able to learn. I have always gone against that. And I'm speaking here, some of them are still alive. When I was at Basse Police Station as the Deputy Commissioner, URR, Alanata Makoi, Ntela office of the police station or the every morning, Nintenata to work. As the Deputy Commissioner, my first thing is to review the police diary, see all the detentions and the reasons. Then I will open the cells and I will ask every prisoner why you are brought here. There was an incident near Alonco. A particular prisoner was brought in because attending a police commissioner at the time, Imandiai Ikuyata Munela Musukur. That police commissioner have the guts to bring that, to order that person be detained in cells. So bring a one in Kamandali, I release him. The police commissioner called me and said, why did you release this person? Nobody gave me a reason why I should hold him. But I gave the instruction, your office is far away. I am the one here on the ground. I'm the one that's going to be held accountable. But of course, I was probably...
That's a sign to show that institution is a failed institution, Aziz.
Well, there have been some reforms. This is when I was there. A lot has changed. I don't want to paint a dark brush across everyone.
Honestly.
But what I'm trying to say is that until there is a change in the culture, I have resisted all those kind of things. And I was willing to lay my life for it. That's why I was able to stand against this kind of thing. But the conditions, it's not the size of the cell. Even if it is...
yes, the ventilation, the condition and that sort of thing, all is unacceptable.
Exactly. But it is sanitary conditions. Prisoners kata jonkongola woleto. Everything. Adikela domoro, sometimes ikela domoro fangodila wolekono. These are the things that are unacceptable. But police dama cannot change it. Government fanafango cannot change it because they are comfortable with it. We need civil society, people like the Martins, who will now kind of blow the whistle and alert both the population and the international community of the prison conditions in this country.
Okay, thank you.
This is how change can come.
Thank you, Aziz. Karim, because Martin, before Karim.
Yeah. Maybe Bama's content now. It's very long time. Saying Bamba.
Azan manga niyo konton na bake mbe konton.
Kibilo babenyani.
Alhamdulillah. Alay Mustafa.
That's right.
Police keba kamon is very important.
Karim jang ayen sula bake. Min keke asakeno momo na kekenya min akeke tilimbale ala kono anin taunte akeke wala kono. How can you ika more strong that kind of condition kono niji dula fango is a problem within 72 hours moy tarawo condition sifa kono mol min yalon ko wala nyanta kele kantalati tankalati wolka ke itoralati kadim your thoughts.
Yalong alay Mustafa baraka bake yalong hadama dingo komen surwal komen fodron posti maraj la em yo anon dictatorship buka men understand wala mu ika hadama dingo lu dalindi molu nyanta sila la damena watul tambira ni ko e karisa mamail tu okake moli e ku baleti because dalil la nyanta mo sambala mile tu ani remand fam. But it's saying just a little petty thing. Ye new kafo bele tate sabaye jurmi mile too. Asamo 1 week or 1 day or 1 week after ye fintini they become state heroes, public heroes like commensa nyame. So akaponding ke obe wakilindile mbadum fananga taisaje simfana muta ni samba mile too ndolle be kala bankola hero tisan. Mansakunda buka nyimbe karang, ibuka nyimbe sute, ibuka nyimbe mira andung modol be kono wolmo kawyewlete surtout in the police force ninko kawyewlemu yajele sariye manya menke that is public ridicule ila junior family can belittle in public. You can easily give orders mobile alongo police is chain of command mobile wolo bari aman jara yene ye fayitande kon telemu karti. You understand? Just in Moina Dreko ko Almanya Nasarla jang. Moelo akoy Mustafa Sotoman.
Okay.
Moelo akoy ko of course nga nyantro soto le katara jang comme kila es la case keta nyame akoy ko arrest this man, arrest him. That is an abuse of authority that has been entrusted to you by the state. And who are the state? The very people that you are abusing. Itolam Gambia is a youthful nation. Ni mansakunda ma hakilo tu funding kewolo wolle be mansakunda bondi la je hani carte carte fa mansakunda be jikrim funding kewolo because it tolle promise ika kuma kenso fo tolle le but funding kewolo be je kan sign ajube ni emire koy muso samba kasola ye muso samba kasola wotumo akokolea baba kele tari mani ye musol fon taraje par tay sukuti no la ka fontina mbawlo ke je elo microphone nyati no ngo birien samba kasola ye mpaki damen ye mpaki le ko sardignol par woman tolu samba dulato. Can you imagine this? Masakunda foi man brain so ke la moy bang molu kaloy ka fo alkany menke woman tolu samba dulato. You are encouraging because nyunu ka men nyinin ka banko be la kolam nyin GSM fonko Asan can bear me witness. Gambia Gambia has the highest tariff in the world when it comes to internet la Carol. Nteka kolome mbondi Mustafa nteka kolome mbondi assist ka kolome mbondi nka megabytes sa moli Gambia kono nte wado do ben ka borle fan nga telephone call ye because ibuka understand no. So okay, Alexi alia regulate. Yes Mustafa, yes.
Akumada bake asan mimbe on the ground last time mako ngamra tata selol dotol because akumata bake what went wrong mune keta fanyim vanketa because ngalon ne petition cool will be binin ko konole what went wrong aning atela experience school kono biringa tata dulalto anim minni diamude yeminni sorong yeminni bula aning wasifal selol la condition o be nyameng lafta pour asan yem mako jeloto aning legally for abe anyanta kela wala nyama fama nyana kela nyama na manyan kela wo nyama lafta pour ay nyamendi aya fo nyembe mena kela dol fana mbo encourage la pour mol hana be jarla koko la pour ye woke pour wo banko wo sifa ay boje ay banje akanake. Mr. Martin, your thoughts on that aspect?
Okay. Yes, Mustafa, and brother Conton, Bambamas, definitely. I before coming, the nature behind, all these things. Police on Yantake Hakilo too. Coming police commissioner for Nyami, Mr. Bojan assist. Police all they need reform. Mustafa, Tonya, this Benjamin Lonale. We have seen the police previously, Jawaralak Jamano, Yayala Jamano, for signing. They need reform and they need to, step up and face challenges for tomorrow. Alle cell mean for Tonyalom is very tough when it comes to the cells in Gambia. I mean, Commissioner mean for Olomko, for instance, in Nanata sanitation. Cello asaiso abijele, but in near more fanda akono. This is where we have a problem. Cello mi alonko nintendo as a more 10 tano, but near 15 kg capacity drong akana dynamics dole fenang. Walatin police all nyantake hakilo too. I mean, Tonyalo, until we have a reform, police station, some of them are not fit for purpose. Tonya, Gambia Jang. I mean, you know, we have some built police stations recently, but like Serekunda and then, you know, Bakote, but Kotutawo is very, very small for the population Mimbian and Konoto. But in general, we need to reform all these things. Munatin na molka dun seloto, one, as na brother ya for Bamba, root causes, but nibe selo kono fanang, treatment o inyanta min sotola. Mafoko, just a cell is just to put there somebody, keep them there, remind them whether they are arrested or so. But the conditions, sometimes the ventilations, sometimes we are not saying that there should not be this thing, but humanity purpose is wrong. You understand? Let them breathe well, let them eat well, let them sleep well, and have a rest. Because they are in the cells. You are in the cells. You already curtail their liberty. They are not going anywhere. So sanitation-wise and also, you know, toiletry-wise, you have to make sure you look after them. But kana kuoto fanang, definitely when it comes to mile 2, JO and Nyanta, it has to be a different ball game. I'm just talking from the police cells. Mile 2, the remand wing, definitely Mustafa, Gela conditioner is bad. Near more than Temia Lonko capacity of more 50, you'll have to more 100 kg again. The smell. You know, some people get sick. Some people come with their own conditions. We need a total reform. Until if we have a chance, the mile 2 has to be, you know, something else. Mafokaka boy, but we can use it to list it and then, you know, use another area and build a new prison. Prison is for a correction center. So it's not just to take people to punish them, but make them a good citizen. That will be the goal. Some people make mistakes, but again, you know, we need to change. There should be a total reform of the prisons, Tonya, you know, when it comes to also how to treat people. You know, the next thing, for you after question, I mean, what about the confrontational issue and how the people are behaving? This is very important, and why?
Yes.
Mustafa?
Yes. Mr. Martin, the concern here is the detention center seems to turn to a torture center in the police station. Is that correct? Torture center.
Well, if they do it at the purpose, no. But at the police stations, let me just be clear here. You know, these are 4 spots of, you know, detention and arrest. So I mean, to say that, for instance, it depends on how you. Okay, let's just go back a little bit. You arrested these people; they should go. If you arrest them, they should be kept in a detention center, whether in the prison before they go to mile 2, because there is a process there. They have to go through the courts first to be remanded in mile 2. But at the police stations, you know, they meet other inmates there. They meet other people in the prisons. So at that level, I don't see it as a torture center. But the goal of the government, for instance, police, all, you know, it all boils down to that chain of command, like Mamba says. If I told Yalong, I always say that the police are taking these people sometimes as a usual suspect. Human rights advocates, the youths, Befenke, I mean, Bamba Minfo, I totally agree. What is that? Youth soul, they have to be careful. 70% of population are youthful population. You have to know how to engage them. Change your rules of engagement. Like Commissioner Bojang, I mean, it has to be reviewed. The 19th century policing and the 21st century policing, they has to be different because things are moving now. When you went to arrest these people and you know that is a sizable number, you have to be careful how to approach them. Again, somebody says, arrest them. do this, do this. You are going on a confrontational level. Are you going to intimidate them? Are you going to punish them? It's the next step. But yake nyaming jele manyang nte ninga molje bi ifuntita. Approach them nicely. You've lived in London, you live in this thing. The police, when they come to arrest, in most cases, they come with civility. Engage the public. What do you want? Well, we want to deliver our petition. Escort them, let them deliver their petition, and then tell them, okay, now what do you want? Can you try to disperse? You know, so that you don't have that confrontational level, you know. So, but if you come with an idea that, well, these are the troublesome types, you know, all this gala thing, you know, these youths, we must, you know, this was the police strategy in this case. So, Walatina, because remember, this thing happens before. Gala force arrest, they went and find these people under a tree by the arch. They just picked up and so on. So there is this perception there. But however, now to the police level, which is that at these prisons, at the level of the police, you know, Commissioner Eminfo, we have a sizable area to keep people. But again, I mean, definitely, if you see what the police objective was, arrest them, keep them. Then after later on, take them to mile 2. And what happened at the courts, you know it. The magistrate refused bail, which was definitely weird and definitely uncalled for, which is that you should not, you know, do those kind of things just to punish people who, you know, definitely they should have been granted bail there. Yeah.
What went wrong and what led to that, Mr. Martin? What went wrong?
Yeah, what went wrong is the approach. Look, under our constitution, these people came out they relied on the provisions of our own freedoms. Look, Mustafa, I mean, Natalie, we come from somewhere very far. You remember the Jammeh days. We were not even entitled to have certain basic fundamental freedoms. As I mentioned to you, freedom of assembly and association is fundamental to all human beings, as a movement and also this thing. So we never got that. Now, this time around, it was not President Adama Barrow who brought us that freedom. It was us Gambians. That's why I totally agree. We all have to fight for it. Any sign of dictatorship creeping again to curtail our freedoms, let all Gambians come out, especially the youths. They should network and stand against dictatorship. They are the change agents. But again, what led to it? I mean, we believe, everybody believes that, you know, look, if you call me today to protest, for instance, not protest, to assembly against maybe the judges or to assemble against an establishment, let's say immigration, they are not doing their job, or I'm a farmers union, I should get a right to make sure that at least we can assemble, congregate, discuss, and then do our thing. They were not, you know, it's, you know, police only alone name. Mr. Jeng and Aziz, Commissioner Jang, if you are about to commit crime, the police can stop you. Or if you are going to commit, you know, if you are committing crime. But again, these are people who are just coming, Mustafa, like we just say, the data coordinate, these internet providers, they did not do their job well. So they went to Pura. Pura did not also respond. Pura wrote this thing. So it would have been simple. Let Pura take the petition, read it, and come back to them and say, look, give me one month or 2 weeks. I will reply to what your demands are. Petitions are important in our democracy, really, because what happened is gives you the authority to review itself. It gives the authority to redress the situation, coming situation or Abenyami. So, but all those things were failed in this particular Fenko. So now they arrested these people, really, which was uncalled for. Now you see the dynamics, what happened, the chain of things happened like it happened. So they have to take them to court, and then later on, all the pressures come. And then this should, you know, this thing should have been avoided. They can have avoided this from the word go.
Yeah. Yeah, my concern here is the guy, the head of the guy who was leading, called the famous, what's his name, the SAR one. The guy, that officer, was he acting lawful? And your thoughts with it, you are legally law alone. I mean, KJ for anyanta wala kala ali arrest or mbal family arrest la. Is that how the police?
No, he was not professional at all. to be honest, until I was born in the service. I also, served as an intel officer. But I mean, even how he addressed his sergeant major was not the right way. I mean, you could go have professionally, sergeant major, nothing, stand on the side. This is what our plant and so on and so forth. But to be shouting that, I will charge you, definitely. It was totally unprofessional. I can tell you that.
Does he deserve to be in that uniform today, you think?
Well, that's the police decision. I mean, like Commissioner Fojang, these internal things about the police, he should be trained. If at all, I mean, how he does, if I was the IGP, I don't know, it would be a different dynamics. But definitely those kind of people, they need to look at themselves, review the way they approach and also the rules of engagement. To be honest, it was totally, below the bar for a police officer. Look, let me tell you another action that happened, apart from that sad thing. There was also another inspector who blocked me, Akonye, for me to go inside the courts. You know what I mean? It's like I have to take excuse from him. I told him, my brother, look, an inspector, it's like you as a police officer going into a police station and somebody telling you that, you have to take permission to enter a police station. So there should be a total reform of this policing. Really, they need to go to retraining. I mean, Commissioner Boyang, he should, most of all these young officers, some of them, the way they are trained 6 months or less, sometimes less than 6 months at the PTS, and now they want to come and be police officers, definitely, Inyanta Talalebag, to have a retrain. I think there was a time where they used to have these British police, when I know the police back then, years ago. You have, elements, foreign elements coming to, develop, or you take a batch of police officers, you take them to another country to give them a more professional training. Policing is not about confrontation. Mustafa, let me narrow it this way. Before there was what they call the police force, but now the world has changed. It's now the police service. So, it was police force, Gambia police force. Now it should be Gambia Police Service, which is GPS. So you see, the police are there to approach things differently, in short.
Thank you. Makes sense. Karim, but as is love of him for the journal, Karim.
Police ke ba ko tum polo demanding
Go ahead.
Yeah, Lawyer Martin Kanyim Memfoteng. Mustafa, you know what happened at the courts? Biri yenying funding ke ol samba court. Ntebe jadne mbenda bunkolo jana receive a call. Can you imagine Lamin Sar, Superintendent Lamin Sar, Biraya ko people are coming to the court. Atele ala officer solo order, instruct. Kafoye ko ye ay motole funding na police ola de paral kata courthouse bundal bemuta. Ako let them not allow anybody inside. Can you imagine this? This is not only an abuse of power. It shows completely because court premises are public institutions.
Yeah,
It's a
no,
he has been given an instruction. Lamin Mumoleti me alonko. Moluka memfa, he is very arrogant. Amala do kuolong. Ni wuriba I promotional sort of walla and when you wuriba faida to
akamulundeko Gambia police katama nyinela ni teka wuruba ke
of course, let's call it tala mure bekering. You know bekering. Police kebalu. As his was a former police spokesperson, he should know better. Police kebalu ibukala fi toye kuya. Ikala fi pull head la police all for me pull head. Na dute ye mo bondi ye dinul da ma fele imaje police ke ba ko imaje jeleta kamem fo because ngani moy katula ni moy like kala fi pull head la bake na ka be dula do le ko roto no hani mandara to nyendira the new kuyatale because obviously we have very excellent police officers still in the police force mo kendol be farin jele tep
Yeah, but Bamba, no, okay, no, Bamba, okay, they at a jelano, them more kurungol katara.
Exactly, Mustafa. Ya stop. Nko mbe wala fola, bari wala kendea. Wote fenyola na ya tare ka mo kuntere wolu tambindi nyato. Obviously, police could have done better. And you better on government phone at na menke. Government called these boys. Ye kumandi mansakunda ekela normal meeting menke kairaba. Ye kumandi je at a press conference. You can ask your questions. Nia that inu wala. Membe kono loya Martin yolta tala borin na selol to kajube ye kari samba mito ye kari. Yalo mansakunda moneka kela problemoti. It will fall like a ke found jaw followed. Because birum fonni kol mamanda, they could have called him Mansakunda. I Delta Menkela, Minister of Information in Foekola saying Menkela, Alna Naliebek, Allah Kumakamola, I love the Memfola, Alna Ali Yininka, Minister Bembe Bendila Kairaba, Kairaba from conference hall, Albena, Atol for Nicol Alice, you can ask any question. Ya joda mapoka mo hakilo tenkundile because newly member juso kolonia nyininka aliya jabe hanal ma jabe ku at least aliye hope dealer ko you would do something about it.
Okay, all right.
But niemolu tay hadama diul tora ye batanda jube fonni ko me aloka infection o soto selo koroje anyaye problemo soto akoye samba lopitano to ya samba lopitano iko ya samba mailtula lopitano to doctor nyinka fay ko ye apollo le soto anyasi infection loso to anyasi tayno jele asi lose no anyala jele anu nyunumu sama alpha lenti ntolongal na time o bekele fom fusa banda sai nyum fonnikol wala nyanta sama Gambia sambala ni te gol tritendu. Can you imagine this?
Okay. Kadim, Aziz,
Yes.
police ya akamulne aku silango warata bake because nyinku abitaka nyameng ase kuja male wuluno abitaka nyameng ase tambino dlatol dame alon control fango ma expect wonyama andong malon fo police ol sign itol fanan kala fi itoye fo bake bang fo la ko funti bake bang fo nyandi long because ni ajibe kol bitaka nyameng police ol kamulun netol itol bijele pour kam mansa kunda ning ala agenda mansa kunda la kol kukumu mansa kunda la koti wala kumate nyakuro para mamulum banku dingol wala nyanto ila ni joni ni selo man kumma nyakuro asis ite made police ol konole e police ye bunda jamara mara the Gambia police e experience ro bakele mako jam fo ya fonye ko bari whole cellular dimension kake 5.4 meters let the sanitary and will see for all be ko kono the Gambia police force or Gambia police service ya mira muno mu problemo tije because ni ajibe asis minne kata duma wolka minke nyaton santon kol ka jele oto walla ke bulala akamunta fo
Mustafa Baraka yalo na diamu alia diamolu focused on law enforcement and in public safety. Lafta kadu demanding from a political point of view pour connect context ning sambana to be able to connect it to what we are seeing and why so that we understand.
That's fine.
There is a genuine concern coming from government about this series of protests, especially youth protests, because it's a clear indication of public or youth disaffection and dissatisfaction with the status quo. Government is very much aware of that and they are scared. In their attempt to address it, this is what is now happening. Yeah, Jeleko, they have granted permits to previous protests and people are continuing. So in their mind is Nimmandandula Kenyina, it will undermine us. And yes, Nimandandula Kala, abe undermine lale, aduning imay hakil too. Even 2026 election will be very difficult for them. But silang ibeo dandula keno la nyadi and the approach interface, that is where they got it wrong. So the approach is manyang kanying allow. Because ninga allow, it will viral. Say lafta jutula mola. especially Niko Silang, ite permito nyinin. We must show that we are in control and we must not allow this. This is the mindset in which they went. Your bari fanang ila concern, government's concern that this is undermining the government is true, because all these protests is a sign showing people are now challenging government's legitimacy. Under normal circumstances, in a very strong democracy, the president may even want to consider calling for an election, immediate election, early election, to obtain a fresh mandate. Because clearly, these protests are challenging the legitimacy of the current government. Now, given that they came into this with the mindset, we should stop it at all cost. This is what we are seeing from the point of view or from police actions. Previous police actions was not like this, but because now government is worried that this is continuing and it's going to undermine us, they gave the police a total different instruction. Where did this instruction come from? Because it looks like police did one thing and government did another. In the same scope, police came with high-handedness to resolve this matter. Barrow, from his side, called a commission to look into this. What does that mean? Police should now start to rethink. They should start to rethink their action. Because after all of that, what was government's response? Government's response was to address the needs of the youth. Had the police taken the same position and listen and look at how best we can facilitate this, and it becomes a win-win. What would have been a win-win? To facilitate the protest, guide them, make sure they also facilitate a meeting between the poorer executive and the youths, let them present their petition, say whatever they say, and they guide them peacefully. So now when we come to the police and we are focusing on the operational aspect, there are 3 levels of police command. The executive, what do you call, I missed the other one. There is an executive, and then there is another level, and then the operational level. What we are seeing here is the operational level. We are beating the messenger. We're beating the messenger. If you were to take action against Lamin Sarr, you will have to sue the Inspector General of Police as well. Why? Because he failed to train Lamin Sarr, to give him the standard training that requires him to execute his function without excessive use of force. If Lamin Sarr failed to do that, it's a failure on the Inspector General of Police. This is why I don't want us to focus too much. Of course, yes, Lamin Sarr he was unprofessional. But this is what the kind of people that IG trained for us and give it to us. So the question becomes, what did IG do? If you listen to me in our last program, I told you, and I still believe it's still the same. If we were to look at the police training manual and the curriculum and the police training cycle of 6 months, you would have come to realize that they spend more hours on field craft than on real intelligence-led policing. They're about marching left and right, riot drill, and all whatnot. We saw that even at the passing out ceremony where the president was invited, what were the skills that were showcased there? Karate skills, all of that. That's what they are telling the president. It's not about the intelligence side of it. When we were joining the police, and Mr. Martin, I think I must have worked with your dad if he was in the police at the time, because I joined the police in 1980. And I was recruited by John Clues. I'm sure you will know John Clues, Ekumawani, and the others. So what I want to say is, what we saw on the ground happening was from the top. Okay, so the 3 layers that I was talking about in the policing, actually what we saw on the ground is the tactical level. We have the executive level, and then you have the operational and the tactical. Tactical is more of crime control or crowd control tactics. At the strategic level, this is where the thinking must come and must be very clear, so that the instructions you give are very clear. And those instructions should be very clear, and that's what they should be working on. Up to this point, I've not had the police come out to regret whatever SAR did, which means they endorsed it. So I'm not going to focus on SAR. I'm going to focus on the tactical and the strategic level. What was the thinking at the time? Now, I'm going to give a free advice to this government. And Bamba said this. Why is it now so cheap and so kind of, I don't know, rosy or sexy to go into prison? People now even are happy to say, I was taken to prison. I'm going to bring it to the local level. When Kankurango start beating people to the extent that is ordinary human. That is where we are at. Because government has responded. And when I say government or the state, because this has been an ongoing issue since the time of Yaya Jammeh. They have always responded to public concern with violence. Labangola multa ta foi man nasila violence la kote. And woleka banko, woleka mansakunda boy. If there is anything member tariala kamansakunda undermine the use of violence. This is a free advice that I can give them. The last thing is, and for Lawyer Hassan Martin and the others who are aspiring to lead this country, sembo bikole ko kidi keso nimbansa nimbanko mole sembo di leka kidi kese nangam le dila purse tankana. If you keep firing all those bullets na banta labangola, you have nothing left. So this is why the use of force is should always be a last resort. Because the more force you use, the more legitimacy you lose. This is a free advice that I want to give to Gambians, and I'm not saying it on political lines. Alabar.
Imbarawa ke Aziz police keba bete ata sukono.
Mustafa.
Yes, Mr. Martin.
I do have my Janira question or two. You know, them, they were properly trained. To be honest, ngakununjelede itola time on 1980 Siaka Sonkonyol, Yankuba Sonkonyol, you know, Mahmoud Job Nyol, you know, the police, then it was properly trained. You see, they were trained on evidence. I glad Jamama when it comes to intel today. You see, you have to understand society is moving. This is where our problems are today. Ntola society, you have to try to know now what is the thinking around this. Most of these youths, as he just said, they are so dissatisfied. No jobs, no nothing. So beyond that also, Aidula Kumama, which definitely I can like between the executive power, which is politically, and also the police. I once wrote on an article that the police should always stay neutral and professional. Munatina, I was advising the then IGP, even present IGP, let them not think that they are here to protect or defend a system, which is that they are politicians. Some of us, we know, I don't know, even if I'm related to you, but as long as my job asks me professionally what I'm supposed to do, I will do it. So yalong minek fenketa na police often at top level, sometimes they are politicized because of political pressure. This is what it is. It's not that you should execute for politicians. You have to execute for the public good. Like Commissioner Yafojang, I mean, that is where our problem is in Gambia. Once Mustafa, let's say this man is a president, he might be thinking, okay, I will only use the police. And most importantly, also, they use the courts for punishment. This is where my concern is. During the Jammeh days, it was happening. You heard about, so-called these mercenary judges and all those things. We're all waiting for instruction. Ali Muta Ali Sorong. The same thing with the police. Some politicians, we know. It's not that we don't know. The culture we know here. Like Commissioner coming for Commissioner, we definitely know the culture. It has to be fought until we need ethical system in Gambia now. Most of these politicians, they will try to say, hey, look, go after them. They will be sitting there influencing the police. And then that is why the rights of Ali for SAR also. What we believe, the whole police system, I myself, during, I think when was Mbalo, that former late Mbalo, he was an interior minister. I once approached him, I told him, look, some of us, we can help the police to what they, ASP Balo, Commissioner Balo, what they call a refresher courses.
Yes.
He knows what I'm saying. Police used to have refresher. That means at some point, even if you are serving after 3 years, 6 years or so, you go back for a retraining for at least another 2 months to refresh you. We need that.
Yeah.
Part of the police reform. We need it. Amanke ko police confrontation. This is where our problem is. 2, always, what is the cause root of all this? These people, they came out. Look, police have to understand that, look, central here in our constitution, Mustafa Antol, we cannot joke with that. Our most important fundamental is one of them is, like I told you, the 3 ones. But importantly is this right of assembly. Because Molbe Fengele, pay conditions can teach us only a funti. Pay conditions or welfare of the farmers only funti lale. You see, we fear, I'm coming for why I will differ with Komi. This usually protest is we use the wrong notion for protest. No, it's all about assembly. Let's say farmers or Gambian farmers, if they don't have angare or don't have good price, definitely at any minute, at any instant, they should come out and show their listing, but peacefully. So government Mustafa, to be honest, this government is paranoid. They're living in paranoid situation whereby no, listen, students may come out because they are not happy with the university. Engage them. Let them come out peacefully, stay at the university gate. As long as they don't block the way, this is their right. Meet them there. Let the minister come there or let somebody be sent. If it's that they're going to deliver a petition. Mona kasirebe woba, Mustafa ngana nga kaito dila ajibe. Ita kaito tala ya fonyeko so that ukari wati dantan na, then I will come back to you. It's as simple as that. So, but I should not come with the notion with the idea, you know, break lale. You know what I mean? You know, more problem more leti. If you are doing that, then you have a problem. So, in short, where I want to learn is that, in short, the police has to be, they have to review themselves. It's not also about press conferences, all about Bondila, no. But our politicians, that's where our problem lies. They can use a system to repress. We already know that. That is mostly what happened here. Africa in general, as long as the president is the one who appoints the IGP and do anything, so it's like, if he doesn't, he can use the law to do certain things. We have to avoid that. So this is what we want us to take note, unless a further one.
Thank you very much. Karim.
Mustafa, comment lawyer Martin ya fonyamen dorong, ni ajube. Gambia banko kang, dala sikodo billion wora wula, million keme fula. Billion wora wula, million gili keme fula. Wole dunta Gambia la security sector. Pour ka falindro ke na banko security doku nyabe kela nyame. Ikafame security reform. Mustafa, nkoto alama barola mansakunda la nani sign tema. Billion, amanke million today. Billion wora wula, million wili keme fula. Wole dunta mansakunda bulo kono puru inyanta security amanyana sana paracetamol la, amanyana sana boro la, hani plaster, amanyana sana. Ajbe nyanta dunna puru na tanko tamandiri nyabe kela nyadi. Sanji tanka wala bayne, not a single law has changed. Hani signing same Public Order Act. Mansakunda kamabo men koma, me alonko, what contravenes with the Constitution. Hani bi mansaka tamala. Ikakiran tolbe military degree le koto. Mantara Constitution no koto. So nyalem certain laws, yalo lua mu lualti, liaje England jang, among written Constitution soto. Because Parliament always changes regulations. Ika change the jumala kama mbenyin kila watu mena wotuma the precarious circumstances at the time are no longer available. Therefore mbetembo mento falindro nyanta keno lale ngani lua fali ngani lua do dundi. But bayro ntolta ka safel. Ntolta jama act of parliament ka certain legislation ol natile meni alonko wolu natile puruka sembo di nyin donna membe loring nyin bunda membe loring ka palantero ka bala abete ata jel. Wolu mambara wala. Lua hanna jawiyata natara lua alem mobe sonta wala par mo malla fi lua kurula hani man safa malla fi lua kurula because ni atara misal fe lua kurula be banko ka ala man tankala sojaro liyete kudeta ikobe lua kurun tamandi leyte man sakaw inyo be kuyala le ite kontan la nko ala man ne man kafar kelay nga gorgi mbub ñol jejande nga mo kote ni mo kote wol jejande bi wol man tara balori. What is the police doing for their families? Wala ntina momo be uniform ko nyante hakilo tula bakele because itabe nyimme beke kan at the end of the day ni retired waranto ifata. What happens to your family kamelu to come? Because Gambia is a very small society. Ntol doya ta bakele. Imagine Asan Mastin yentelong sama nin dingo si bensilo kan kido mi bamba masla. Mustafa knows me. Samantele Mustafa dingo ben pako to waranga ben London Festival. Uncle Bamba man ntamu Mustafa di malady. Okay, 5 pound of it ita nyinsam because na fama ya soton. Gambia be wole nyama, Gambia manki bonku kota wole be nyama, Gambia doyata bakele. Everybody knows everybody. Nita tata ikobe bambula lua koma ikat mo tilimbalia. Ite fa sama woni dingo ebek. Ite amira wobe ite dingo jela nyadile. Andunka kule koros Gambia police keba nso domande. Nka kule koros na Bangkoka. Nimma hakilo to Mustafa. Ntolla Gambia society yari jangole katara Gambia no ninga nite Mustafa Mandia billahi na me soto abe dingo jela drong abe la fijo jindila because we are saying it every day publicly nka jele fam nte fam katula fulan ko modol ka talib ben suda kajafi inin talib bamale problem soto inin talib man problem soto they have nothing up to talib nana me tonye but because talib bama ni a problem soto they hate talib as a result so ning atara wokake ning wakake mfongli nyabala itebe uniform kono ikawo ifo nyabe osifala who tells you that somebody cannot do that to your child and that Saturday dingo is totally innocent amam fen contribute. I was very very happy biringaje IEC la former chairman dingo afana dunta demonstrator sol kono ani bebe demonstrate kan. I was so proud of him. Ngarunta dol fon mo ikafay ko ite man ikasave Facebook ikafay ko you need to go to your dad ay molla ko do murundina. That boy is innocent. Afaye menke wo and wonate man nyo sort of fenna. Gambia nyanta try to distinguish between child and parent. Parental action should not affect the child. Alinga wo system of fanan nkonton la ko bele dunda nyoto Mustafa. Wala ntina Gambia hakili tu balbeje. Gambia needs reform. Whether civil service member, whether security member, whether whatsoever, Gambia needs serious reform. ni wonde molbe siri nyoka manyame molbe kamfari nyoka manyame ndenga kebaro je Mustafa nana nga fo nyim programme to jan ko ntata wulin kama nga keba dole kibaro moy bundu ntanata bebe bundu na saunta wulin kama ntata na friend sol visit Birahim kibaro ma ko bama mas nata konto ako nyefane tay ni na dimbale nyokonto I was going with him katala suokolo nka he na ke ban kay bari jawarte la jam feketa ko nyeko yenna ko rajel ako nyewo ko ramen hayna jana kay ako nyeko NIA en ko leta ma ako nyulle en telepa yen sene ako nyenka duwale lolo fitno wuli nyim banku ka janna mi namba dingol bele fal nka subhanallah nka na ke ba ako wallahi ngankale alala ko nyewole en sawndi wulin kamaja. So what Stephen Nitio and you are a public commentator. Our country is in a very serious problem. They didn't get reparation, they didn't get a reconciliation, they didn't get reconciled with their torturers, they didn't get a compensation. Imam Fensoto, ibe siri wanyama in diminal, dol tata foi fata, idimol be siri ibe molu jube kan. Woldingol dolbe kamfari nyame mobe nyakasile ye fanyol bute mole nyakas wol nata ke banko president iti amira wolte tara kamfari banko be kamaba nyulle mo kuti mo nyaton ko nyanta sile kamenu mira ite you've taken up a very broken system jamela system o tinyatale banko molbe pendri banko molbe dimina ko banko molbe kamfari ite la juti nyanta kala nyaadile kawo dimolu jara it's not financial. Amante kono da maleka mo juso nyabude mo dol beje ni tata kay ko he bamba nga asan ngamoy atodong assis boje to nyambakele bare assis mbasa mbala na nay apologize nga assis sama nga sende asan martinello assis ya fay ko asan I'm really sorry wo dem ma fonka mo hakilo tenkundile ibajele ko asan sa forgive unconditionally. As a young farmer, ye bloody nyole ke terti kam fate tarla sokol abalo na ko assist natale wholeheartedly to apologize.
Bamba ngapo asan ko asan hako gwendi nyoto kodi bari bamba olaf. That's good, more important. Left na police na for do na demanding and defend the police a little bit here, because the whole purpose of this is not to find faults, but at least to say
some resolutions. Yes, resolutions.
So first things, left Bambaning Gambian called Bailey Mani and Dilako, police reforms are ongoing and they were very effective. Ninga jibe police or mbota daming up to B. Daming. We've gone a lot. Amankeko, it's a gift. No, Gambians fought for this. And so that's what we are seeing. Reforms nak dandula tala amambang adu atebanna. But when you look at police attitude towards the citizenry, even though have still left much to be desired, has improved significantly from where we came. And that, no, so
malafika kundu barjani kanyina janna malafika nyina.
Okay.
But Aziz, minketa etaka reform min for kawala be caring, but minketa nyillo kuntambela ama wotandi de
hani yalong ay mentandi wala ma dastari. Imagine, I just want you to take time to some 10 years back. If this was a demonstration, Mafontolu online will not be questioning police action. But no Gambian will like to come in and associate themselves with Ntoladiamo. That's the reality. We've come a long way, and police have done a lot. Niaje hanin bi yalong reform for Benjamin, institutional reforms like the police, the impact registers in people's mind. So sometimes we don't see that. And we don't have to focus on what they have achieved. We should be focusing on what they have not achieved. So it's not, I understand that. You interfere. They are prioritize in their reforms. They are not prioritizing that. Police have benefited from a lot of training in human rights. Even Yaya Jamila time. Ask any police officer, they'll be able to read you all the rights, constitutional rights of citizens. What is the problem? It's again the culture and the mindset and the political manipulation. Because munemu, politicians always hide behind the police to clear the mess that they have created. I've said this and I'm going to continue to say. Mandenkolu have said it very clear. Kusiatiti. Ika police will address ko kusiatiti. You know why they use that? Mune the police only when citizens want to deliver a petition. Why should it now be, why should police be the headline in a matter that does not concern them? And this is the mindset. Yes, government might tell you, or your minister, or whoever might tell you, we don't want any chaos. You now have to imagine how you can facilitate that. That is not written on paper. The Constitution may tell you the freedom or the right, or it may tell you maintaining public peace. For me, Bamba, the Public Order Act, in as much as it have left much to be desired, if you have a police management that is able to reimagine the spirit of the law behind the Public Order Act, they could still maintain public order without resulting in confrontation. Use of force does not necessarily means violence.
Okay.
People need to understand, the use of force and the violence are different. You can use all your institutional resources to show the power that you have without necessarily resulting to violence.
Okay. Yalo Aziz. Yaninke malafike kuntu. Model bafoga ako nge comments or read. My comments or read. I'll come to the comments. I'll give you 2 minutes. I'll go to the comments. But left me for Aziz. Yalong, this looks like pre-planned thing like here. Planning banding on Nal Tata Ali arrest. Final. Nal Tata Ali booty. Nal Tata Ali detain. Nal Tata ni Tata court me sambalajan. Kumembe plan ring wonyama Aziz. He's all ready made man Aziz. And yes. Bankuminka policeman operate wonyama. Bankuminka operate wonyama. It's a fail man Aziz.
Yalong, I told you the context. And that's the mindset with which they went into this. What was the context? Especially when they offered that ibe bail ye money release, a conditional ke useful balanta. It's like saying you want to stand us. Yeah, understand?
Yes.
That's the mindset. Adunga manyan kela wonyama. But that is now at the level of at the executive level, not even at the operational, at the executive level. Because now that inevitably you will arrest, once the situation calms down, you can release them. But because they want to save face, they now want to put some bail conditions. Very useful balanta. They force them to act unreasonably. It's all a face-saving strategy that did not work for them.
Makes sense. Thank you. Let me come to the comment and come to you, Mr. Martin. Some of the people are saying promotions that were based on the merits and phrases courses were mandatory. I think this guy is a police officer, Mimbijang. You got a lot of people here. Most of them are on the YouTube channel. Let me see. Kausuke Damfa is saying the SRR, I don't know, as you might know this, the SRR core mandate should have been on change of mindset. Yeah, but they focus more on structural capacity building. So structural capacity building, this man seems to be a police officer. And then there is another one here, Ibrahim Hassan is saying, greetings to you. All the police IGPs supposed to honor and respect the concern of youth, but instead, he's saying that people who were expressing their concerns to the action of those PIU. So he's taking the side of the PIU instead of the demonstrators. And then he says, greetings to the police. IGP is supposed to honor and respect the concern of the youths, but instead is defending the actions of the PIU police intervention unit for some reason. Bamba has to understand that SRR worldwide is very costly. SRR, mostly in Africa, delivered their authorities from peace accords like post-war conflict countries. Gambia was not from war, but out of bad governance. Okay. Malum for as I don't comment on see at the back.
Yeah. By the way, Kausu Damfa was a former police officer.
Yeah, I think.
But if Kausu speaks, he has authority because not only was he a former police officer, but he was involved in the reform process in Liberia.
Okay.
He went for peacekeeping, but he was among the few Gambians that were retained on a professional position to help in the reform and restructuring of the Liberian police service. Menko comment, we are not in a post-war context. Security sector reform does not necessarily mean we have to be in a post-war context. I was coming from Memphis, we were almost a failed state. And our security sector was not responsive and addressing the needs of the citizenry. Instead, it was weaponized. So there was the need. I had one commentator here a couple of years back about the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Outcome from Manyang just Kela reparation damati. It's a constitutional building moment. Adunamira, most of the draft constitution, most of the provisions were driven from the spirit of the findings of the TRRC. So, Laftaka Wole to the responses of.
Thank you. Watu tata baki ngalo neko samala be kiri njana dibobi je kandiabe Martin batandika ngintambeng Asan we'd like to take this time kafe ko baraka baki, thank you so much. But janim bita laughter in yemma kwe your final thoughts wala ila maningol ko konoto dia final thoughts about the inhumane treatment of protesters and the condition of the detention cells in the Gambia Bangkok and beat. Muna bakilela konoto diade because don't mean beka diamu jam. Don't be mu Gambian kola the Gambia la ko wala insula. And ning Gambia katani sila la mimang correct. Hey, don't be la nyantolom purka fo wala ka kodo keje o sembo yemi o min no purka contribute purka je ko woye man. So wakumala Mr. Martin, your final thoughts la konoto dia about na kacha ko bi. Mr. Martin.
Well, Baraka Mustafa, be konton na jame. Bari mero ko jan gar ko janimbe diamola ila. Ala bolol da ko ibabe jola in pounds, not in dollars. Anyway.
No problem. Yalo nako Aziz before ngata Asan la Mero is my mom, aka is my mother. Yande is my mother. Greetings to her, honestly. See, Omero, yes, na Mero lo. Asan na Mero.
Gondanda brother Bamba Mas Aziz. I mean, this is what it takes. It takes everything. Kacha Bundalom. We all were aiming for a good nation, and inshallah, Basotolale. Gambia, it calls for a leadership growing. Whether politically we have to get it right. Also, our institutional reforms, like my brother says, Aziz. I mean, all sectors, all our institutions. There is no success story. Amanke ko until we ngabaro kongne. I don't think Bamba Mas or anybody. We all know. We all fought before he comes into the to the fray as a president. President Mansakunda Mukarafa Fengoleti Mustafa Monyanteke Hakilu to bake sama. And the fact that, in fact, my brother Bamba mentioned it, where you have to be a unifying leader tomorrow. That's what we call for. The country is small, it's a complex one, but we call for a good leadership. Because I always look at it that way. Today, we should all be looking at each other as brothers and sisters in this country. So the police, yes, they can do their work. But like our brothers is mentioned here, they have their manuals, their training and everything. They are not here to serve an establishment, for instance, the politicians. We have to always make that distinction. Police has to be neutral and professional. Yes, we know that the challenging situations will always be there, Mustafa. Adamadingo is very complex. So what you do also, you as a police officer from the top, like he mentioned, the police executive, let them be sitting, rethinking, retraining inside them internally, and let's take this approach. Listen, we have come from a very different era. Jammeh era, they are not mostly come out in peaceful assembly. But we all fought for this, for us to have our rights and freedoms, to have peaceful assembly whenever it's necessary. And this is our advice to President Adama Barrow. So the same thing. That is what we are saying, to be honest. Trying to use the police state. You know what I mean? Trying to say that police all because most of these things, look at the timing of it. You think that, the political tension is there, but the police has to behave professionally. They are not here to serve a purpose of an individual. So, definitely we know that it's tough on them, but Mustafa, at any instance, I'm not saying that you cannot protest around there. No. The fact of the matter is that Ninteman Gio Soto Jang, o manna jaran call email fenkol domono bambaya londe ma fenke, because bansakundale nyanta direla, they have a right to come out and say, look, hey, ndol fanang sanyi, we are part of this. It's simple. The imana call tinyala, imana dulal janila iman, so just go there, escort them, engage them. The rules of engagement. So hadama dingola nyanto fana nyanta dialale, because remember, Gala, they have a protest here. I see Omar Saibo, the PRO of Gala. That is what we want. Build up an environment. Don't go always confrontational. I told the police, even at the court's gate, don't raise the tension. Tension man better. No, just go there professionally. What do you want? Look at the leadership. Can I communicate to you? Tell this body thing. But you are making a grave mistakes. Remember, and I said it, and I implore all youths, Gambian youths, let them network against dictatorship. Meaning that dictatorship ma for fenkede bari na mansakunda mlimbe nala wala bilom samalom or sininding. Let them network against it, because it's not good. Akana mine natrata ye freedom of assembly hotel. Next time it will be freedom of expression. Bamba yalo nembe minfoka. Iba fula sanyim bamba masla kumol siata le tenin teng ali batu. Killing asan fana telling. I mean, we all know. So sometimes the police, they fall in the net of the politicians. They should try and avoid that. Let not the politician push you. But I understand my brother there, and definitely I'm part of the establishment. We want a successful policing in Gambia. Definitely, that is his wish. But we want also the police to have rethink, not to defend the interests of politicians. Look, a statement was written here by journalists. Because of the ruling party has interest or whatever, it was a political statement. It had a journalist or muta. We don't want those things to be playing around. But Mustafa Nkontanta Bake, the Public Order Act, definitely it should be repealed. Mafoko, sometimes what we have here is this. This is the line of distinction quickly. We can make it a notification act, whereby if I know, let's sensitize the public. If you know that you want to say, for instance, you want to march against drugs, or you want to march against illegal drugs, or you want to march because of water, you want to march from point A to point B, you can just say to the police, okay, I am notifying you that I want a police escort. Okay, I need a permit. But let us not depend our life, every move, not our police, every move. Police are not there to determine our freedoms. They are there to protect our freedoms, in short. But Abarakabake, Mustafa, and I hope next time, y'all on network all of Jandrong.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
Thank you, much appreciated.
Baba telling mas,
As is your final thoughts?
Thank you, Komi. Have a good one, man. Good guys.
Okay, thank you. As is you're on mute.
Yeah, left after Ketanya Kuntan Kubati to join San Martin, a very great lawyer, and I now understand he's also into politics. But if he is into it, I wish him well. And I see that he's more interested in issue-based things than just political talk. And I really like that. Ning police ko fota wati, I'm passionate about it. But I manke komen na wuli nyine kamaka police hold doya hani. Ninga soto dal police hold will be the best. Otonka mem fojang ka try dronke konoto dia. So let them not look at the form, but let them focus on the substance of the message that I am carrying. There is hope for our police and there is hope for our country. Memo de Daniel Hakola dinga fem fo jamenning ila
janibe moldan la yalan ku kilembe ko kono
ha
ide bella filale ko ning ibe retire o ibe sila dawda ya ko idingole ko de Aziz Boja munum police hold woto ning mobije minka police hold la ko tinya if another sila yo jadi Aziz iba fala ko how many minute ite kanyi minketeng the reputation and my reputation nindingol mbesire mba fala ko ndemu police hold num before ite kanyi minketeng you drink wala tinya so it is sila yo jibe fo
no nte sila no jibe I'm really doing that bari yalo dia mole mandia ndu wati hada madingo ni lonta wati sa lonko me karandi still around ni amira ko ya long me karandi is still around woto mbani mfamma jiole fola ka dani roke doro ninga fem fo mending mola miro manta wala that what is existing on the ground isa understand me kontanta bake fana ka Serigne Bamba masoto jang adumbe Bamba dani la bake ning tarasa no ninga dunyo kuntato asea kata akana jang katu bi itenyim platform fola Imam Bamba foje man Suleiman foje aninde jobate yo nga understand fana ko time buka soto bari Bamba dali na nyanta kachala bake na jibe mba soto la nyame because no alikana sonka Bamba always bring a very good perspective. He brings humor and Bamba can tell the truth with humor. And I really like that. Wotomba Danila back, be mo be Danila be kausu tentula, kausu damfa for his contribution. I think Nyantanyi mo sifal fango once in a while invite me Samanan to share. There is a lot to share from within. Allah barakabak.
Baramake Aziz Kadim.
Mustafa Barakabake, police keba mba tentula bake mba jaila, lawyer San Martin. Like always, Maula Mati me alon ko isula tama watu he's always there puruka hadamadola nyanto bonni nyoto. Nyin kuma ya bakele Mustafa bari menda kumo kumfala dame don te blafta fala la kontolu. Mamira kabira bota jawara lan tollo kita nyato kaya kuwa. Kadu kini ajube kabiri nkoto Adama Baronata. Moman Adama Fasante Bambati. Bari alinga muru hakilo muru ndiko makandate kabiri Haruna Jata. Kani live demonstration Haruna Jata fa manza kunda ko iba ko kisikisela tukutuku yere nyina tal para ba bantan nata wol fana fonninke wala wolte demonstrator e ko mennu kela kenyo bi imam ibalanta wala manza kunda na police oli bunki dola wana mo fana manza kunda ko ba kisikisela tukutuku yere mbodo don dunda fertilizer ko to agriculture ministry fertilizer ko e ko ba kisikiti la tukutuku yere mbodo don nata James Gomez kata bamba boja nyolo Gambia Fisheries Minister of Fisheries fola ba labanta men nafa this entire fisheries building ka bele janita kaytol men bebi ja be janita tukutuku yere fembuka fota ko fata wala nyama Mustafa mbodo to 800 million keme say fo men siata wala yemanta Gambia Revenue Authority anin Central Bank tema odi amo fanan tukutuku yere masa kunda manson pour ka fen fo mboda je 50 million nawek ko anin Ajib Bank ko do yemanta moma ko do nyi jumalata ta minto tukutuku yere banda keta la case nada Tony Saba droko cocaine Tony Saba hani bi fonyo kati wala fe nawek ko do fuelo men kasunya nawek fanan o fanan ko nyin tata wala nyama data dunta diplomatic passport ko kono o fanan o hani bi momalo ye kawala mo kelinda mala mansa sumare ka samba kito la sanji tannim fengi ba samba kito hani bi kito man banno kito man te kuntuno bila ita report sama ita report mbodo don dunta 147 million COVID-19 kolome ya nati pour ka moluma koy COVID-19 o kolo fana yemanta wala nyama mo dandane sitaw nyama ya pisir pasar ya kuntu da maltem Mustafa mbodo nada 12 million corruption scandal mekira Senabu Martin la kesti o grand nying o case nyi fana mansa kunda la banta Senabu Martin fasala foy kana Senabu Martin na doku da ka bunda katika dia ku ya dundi ka encourage mbodo kono Abubakar Jawara kidol zamana assault rifle molu ko hani ko Abubakar Jawara kay hontin ko le samana sai assault rifle o kamo nyini je masa kunda he dampol wore e bambuta ko ma ya fasa ku tut mamboje Mustafa mbodo kono ni hakilo ba kan keme san jamme be am député yala fanke yala wato be keme san jamme be ambassadeur yala wato be na toki ye Gambia man sakunda so bosu mu wanela boso mo tilbula kunde mo bosu mo be yeman mo malo boso tata dame hanibi man sakunda bukana ka explain Gambia dole yalo ni hanna ya tara ya dundi ku kendole kunna nimban ko dingol ma long ye molbo ambulance wadi tambita ambulance jelle na da Gambia fom bukaje ambulance be yayi nebe lo nyono ma e be lampolo wir la mol kuma ta ko sayo kai sasa ni mo sasa do ambulance be sur la kesam de Mustafa kaje ambulance driver bonam banyu na sasa do dan banyu ay bonam banyu ne kay ko nyin don samba ko mbatatal ndam malamu at the whole hospital driver killing hani bi ntoluman system o londi no memba tinako mbaje lako na moli e bo sirin sareto lukan msole bo wulula timoto sareto lukan ye bulandi ambulance kendo la ambulance sol men yalo ko facility sol betar laje ntoluman ke mansa jawti because mansa kunda mo mollelti mol menu marta mansa kunda la wolu ni wollel be nyola bar mansa kunda is a continuous thing mansa kunda nyanda me understand laje wala mo intuko Gambia di wolu fanambe korosirol anu sa imbe digital wolle kon Mustafa Jawara la jamano menu ka foyi ka yeman mobuka long bi ndew jamano kono bi fewvembe kira ka savele akatara mabo kanne who knows who would be a victim of that adu medro TRRC 15 yankuba atodo Edward Singata nyolta je wuliya baka tawko itara sila tolko alaji kan nyolta je le wuliya bunta diate nyame itara sila tolko tous manken follow man tous and wolia admit la ko ye mo fatable na toleo me musabu ko ti yankuba turo otade je okaka anda bo fenkele nte I'm bound by the indemnity and fenke be the fele to serving life imprisonment and jonglu men yalo ka nie mo fake ulbe siri be borle be yayla sato ko yalo ko dol be je banko di wala alinga sibanga taning hakilo ba alinga taning hakilo because yaje ni ko ite tama ya tale tika tale ikate fan dunde fenda kunna ite fan bondi no la men kunna ikata julule bude kawla ite fan la murote fan wata julo men kuntu no la Gambia be tembo men to Gambia we can easily forgive each other and move on ngapanko nyin tamandi bari nite nata ite molu assist boja bute adingol nyala ya lipa kene bato ya kosi ya kuno fara ite ende bamba master yenke minister assist dingol nyabe wala ibe korosiro la nyulle ndol fa bute no ite man assist hako dani ite man assist la dimbal hako dani waran assist man na kala dimbale ko yanku man banyune ko imaje ba mas me mbute janno say natele benda he biyo kay apologize la bi ako men kita bulle amala ba abotuma ba abe setan na bulu nga yam fama alay kilay nga yam fam ibaje la ko dinul fanam fo balon ko mfama has been compensated but not financially, but me a tonyen a bolo side. But bibi molbe siri nyoka momo ya me fa bute yalon Gambia bankoka. Momo e mem fa bute yalon. Mpaluko nga adama baro samana prawo nyaji le fita. Atendana nyuna the same people la kwa altali hadaji. Mustafa yalo watu do mbukala fika politiko kacha. Mfamata jandia mola. But kulle be caring Gambia billahi we are sitting on an egg. Asise kilo teta lolu. Mbe nyosu bo domala nka yalo mansa kunda ko itol kabori Rwanda lama iko kabori genocide lama mol mendu ka nyoti limbali bari woti limbali yale be continue ka ndra toka. Of course ngalo ne ko lafta reform sol kala but it's too slow. Mete moment people are dying, victims are dying one by one. Mansa kunda ma any reparation londi memba tinako nyimbeta ro victim la ko da mada mala ko jamela assessor jube Jamela assessor men fawol nin jamme do koke wala la banta jamela jorangol san men ne jamme empower wala la banta la jorangol san ajube don ni tata ye siringay jube siringay ani ay kadim gay do malen bakilim fakile jamela rosole la banta wafila wala hadim gay ngamira wala ni ya jamme do kolanu wa hadim gay kilo ngamira man sakunda wala katandi fanne banjur rehabilitation nonsense diala ay banjula hydrantol besono banjul nin jionata banjur ka floodle nin dimbabo ta banjul bibi Mustafa banjul belebe malala because hydrant banjul isa fo be pipe dunna men ka banjul ka tilim bola ka jio process ibita mile tule wala eta mile 7 radio Gambia eta je ibe hydrantol tarla wolto banjul fo hydrantol nyabe concrete la be suki na bankobe tinyala faulu nyabala mon ka kolota ikabi kata balu wala Senegal kalilu wage jube nyunu do no manke Gambianti ma fo kana contract dealer because Gambian and Senegal be kile. Let people not misquote me but mbe menna wala mu nyinti ko adi banku ni wala isaje na ma ke kun sa samalo kiti wala jampare bibi ajube o hotel bu me be iko kada hotel be alo ko lafta pour ka hotel me lo pour OIC itata kolo be di kennola o tata bulatna sunkude no ma because ngamero sunkude warabu sunkude no saja fati o dinga nyinya batal atata na banko kolo be di wal tu amam hotel do amam fel do ako kolo nyin o di no le o do o be possible no la jadile tilimbali abe kerim banko kamba ko baro adam baro nyanta bonila because tilimbali abe Gambia is too much tambitale nte adama is my brother, I love him. But nga love volunteer na lafta pura e boje saja adama fana na bota ja akanta bori ay banko bula koy menketa ya jamela fana ta exile man la fola. I don't want that for my brother. I want my brother pura fana singa for nyina mu former president afela na the independent blato and president do e bulo du nyobulu na banko nga move on. Nigeria wala bije Nigeria military cool ka kejele ka nyo fay ka nyo sapun ka kolbe ka nyo bari na ma moy ko Nigeria former military ruler tata exile ibuka moy so ndol bana nyanta trela nga system ol dunni na banko kan ba system o me alonko nsi yam funo nyoma no system o men but ate keno la because mol men be je wol ka mol hadani le ite mol la mol tilimbalia ite kana si ko ka wol hadani ite amira wol nim falindro kena bi mo malo sama membe sayla adambaro ate keno one of the victims child wala be kala Gambia president asikeno Usain Dabol be kala asikeno Ahmad Bala be kala asikeno Mai Fati be kala asikeno somebody else mammem fangolong me alon ka fama ya senele wala be tarasilan kunna nimbi bibi nato presidency fa so jumala balon nabe atla nyame because what tarasirin jela anen kam fale menta anen kam fale wuluta anen kam fale menta anen kam fale karanda anyama faje ay trimbale asifa beje ay nasia telemu bi president the chief executive sembo batel bul kamo fa kamo soro ning alamantaw ma koy ay advice kendo soto o be mbele fala ko so to na banko kan tay mo sita la pour nga jeko mol men yalon koy diminal soto ngela dimol jara nga reconciliation nga reparation okay nga molu son molu nyabu wo banko needs that very 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 urgently because ñin demonstration me nga moja ka fo police ko pote amirante be sila letela so police fon man sakunda ka police pousse le mol tina na sila lela e be mune kala ni koy mol sila ni la wala mo yefa because ka ñin tiaga tol men fay mo ko buka mo opka fon ni ko sila say del talale they are used for it ka mol fenke ke bane waran ke fenke obuka imagine o police me be bane ndro le mol ba fly ko e bul saga ni ñi way kana mol bane ani police be lori be yun fuma ko ni protesters be ñoo bane journalist all ba record la ite fanga alon ko war is not best practice man sakunda alinya be nyimbela atoli amira alkalfa mako el alkalfa antinyal because at the end of the day ibe mine ko pool head lale ibabula la nyaton ko le buli ba fala kon konte fa be jele bar ntamal la fila nga jele men keta ya jamel Mustafa Jos mbem fala mole don wala mu ya try by all means ali nga try bang man ñomoy damenuto nga je try fonsi ñomoy no je ndamalu te keno la ku kilindi wonana te sotola hani muslima dino to molbu ka salinya kilo so woto nyanta lon na ko womu lakira kulati dunia ko dum be keno la kilindi nyadi hani bari membe banko be na fala alim be ngabula wono mabang handa atarante ku killing nte man sakunda nay ku kendo ke I support it I applaud it because man sakunda ni woli atinya drong akamunte ka tinya samale amanke ka tinya fawled e ka tinya samale ntol batata nyim promise wulande ka foko nga fonko to fondim fawna dale adambaro ba fala ko be jaman talu tawora lolola fosko lo fawna dale warambe gadino lo sina ntol batata o promise falle we are tired of hearing that ntol lafta results lafta action lafta jelala ko man sakunda what you tell the public hal nalima be ka do man dinke ngawoje classroom temperature baro ka wolelo ay classroom ol menulo ngaje bang at least wala be banko dingol na falo wala be karamudo dindol na falo wala be banko la sabati president baro ka men ka buka ka faya ka banko dingol le so woto banko dingol le nyanto soto ka nyin karo ke ni aje kume man correct ni aje kume man ta nyama they have every right to ask questions masakunda nale promiso di oni ko na de yali nyin ka barato le koteng ala fo ko mom fondin na soto nyama waran ko lo nyi ya sunyale al chance din na ninga ko do soto be nyin fine I don't have any problem but al kana falbe police le use like intimidate kafo itol molbe majika ko kada dibite bumoto atol kuntu tawl nyatal kali yolbe arrestle jumala nene aje boka mo arrest fo banjun silo kan kata me jela say wo fala mo crime let alma la do kolon because mol multe ko tol kata me wala kata banyu when has that become a crime nal tatal be charge la monela because alta for unlawful assembly iko bana fo table de iko ka majila kata dibite bumoto ibela la jele fo jannen sama dibite le na taraje atole kuntu wol nata le arrest atol mo sifalti alika menka alika banko dingol le kamfande ke bari wa fo nya ko nyako akonya ala kalimu rasul alka tariya kamfala akonya bari ñun la ñim beti atale akonya gon dafa wala tamene tiaga to fay mo fula fa nka subhanallah nka na ke ba kanaw fo akonya bi la wala ko wolbe kamfala man ta kamal because the more ñu ne manyake the more molbe kamfala man sa kam and which is true ñun be ñim menke kam mo ntenga moje me alon ka be diamola ntenga alon ko be NPP le 100% bir nga jafa jelo e muta fang yara fang ya kotoma di mola muta abe kam faring so man sakunda wala ndina man sakunda e pool heta man sakunda e dabo atol police la kono ya da mal la problème to al forbul e tol tata kartanta wala nim fondin ke wol sita karaba conference center ini kajata mun alima malu atol polisol sabu ke me yatol ke jorolde imal filije me nya kasal etol tate ni ñu reconcile ni da mal kacha politician do nyam ko politician mo nyam ko koron akot yelma na alal hakilo tun tol politician do atol polisol ibal to ku yala mo fele bi mo be ba fala sar ni sar bay do ko la jang ntel nga fo ni bay do ko la hala dingo fawta lift soto la Gambia lift ata hani men fo ka fo sar is doing a good job is tamba dingo la silo kayte lifto dila ala fo mo le hakilo tu mata fandengo ya maro soto kamendi banko di wala la baraka baka alla la mo kunyuma
en barama ke kadim baraka e budun lamana ngi veralo kadim wono na kadim rasul borringo da nata la bijanne banni ala ma be da pamala yo bro lamana ngi veralo you know na civic education program o minga so da kabana sky power radio and tv services program o nyinka na CBDO civil le kabonde talan lulu UK la time Gambia talan nani akanya wala fe kada talan wala depending on akita nyameng bro be mol be tentulam be yela mol mine comments and contribution ke jang mol mine program o share fanam be tentulam be yela mol mine la wato ta pour kataram ve jang mol fanam be tentulam be yela bro wato inso nyena lambe dana janne kabana sky power radio and tv services albani malo mustafa jamme membe sirim program o kunna fosibit nala inshallah alibara